Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here to give you my favorite MLB home run predictions for today. We're talking Tuesday, September 2nd. Happy Dinger Tuesday, everybody. The Dong Report is back in your life. I'm going to have 9 total players on Dong Watch for today. Going to give you my 3 favorites, of course, if that's what you would prefer to play. I always recommend spraying the board. Just lower the unit size so you end up risking the same amount per day regardless. There's one game that I really like that isn't part of my 3 favorites because I'm worried that it's going to get rained out. We're going to talk about all that, but before we do, let's recap yesterday, which was technically a day in the green. And at the end of the day, all you're looking for is to make money. Now, it didn't feel great. We got one player to hit a home run. Thank you to Bryce Terang, who's just an absolute MVP for us the last 2 days, cashing him 2 days in a row at plus 900. Because he had such high odds, all we needed was for him to hit a home run to make money. We were up 0.3 units, not the craziest day in the world in terms of profit, obviously, but happy to have a day in the green. The 2 Mets guys let me down. It was Juan Soto that ended up hitting a home run. A bunch of random jabronis hit home runs in this Rays-Mariners game, so it wasn't any of the Low/Lows or Polanco. And then Yelich, Ramon Laureano, no home runs for them too. But hey, day in the green on the entire year. Brings our total profit up over the 8 unit mark of profit, up over 5% ROI as well. So even though it felt like a really gross year, 5% ROI, I'm completely okay with, up 87 units lifetime on the Dong Report, up 14, just under 15 units since June 21st. So everything's been much better recently, which kind of makes sense because the weather got better. All that stuff matters for home runs. In terms of today, there are a couple good games for home runs. I have a couple plays in both of these games, and Target Field is the game that I really like from a weather perspective. It's the best game of the day, but there's like a 75% chance of rain basically the entirety of this game. So I don't know how they're going to be able to play it unless they delay it a couple hours. If it's played, a lot of juicy options in that one. And there's agreement with Weather Edge as well. They love this Twins game, plus 34% home run index at this game in Minnesota between these 2 teams. Now, one thing that I want to mention, Cubs, I know there were a couple home runs hit yesterday, but when there's wind blowing in at Wrigley Field, it's a no touch for me. It's just so hard to hit a home run there. I will have a play in Fenway, even though it's a pretty gross weather game. But what I wanted to highlight was the game at Coors, if I could find it. Here we go. So there's winds blowing in at Coors Field, but wind has very, very minimal impact on the trajectory of the baseball. So I don't really care if there's wind blowing in at Coors Field. If you look at, like, even though there's double-digit winds through the majority of the game blowing in, if you look at like both Weather Edge, they don't care, and Ballpark Pal has this as the highest rated game of the day from a weather perspective. It's more so neutral. So that's just one thing that I wanted to highlight. We can get into today, and while we're talking about Coors, I have 2 plays in that game. I'm going with Matt Chapman to hit a home run, and I'm going with Willy Adames to hit a home run. So of my 3 favorites, Adames is the first of the 3. He's been on fire. He hit a home run yesterday. We've seen him go on binges before. There was a stretch last year where I think he hit a home run in 6 straight games. He had a stretch this year where he hit a bunch of home runs. You look at recently, Devers obviously has been on fire, but I didn't want to go lefty versus lefty because we're talking about that, but the Rockies are starting a left-handed pitcher. But look at who's right behind them in terms of barrels. It's Willy Adames with 3 and 10 hard hits. It's Matt Chapman with 3 barrels and 9 hard hits. So pretty good numbers for both of them. They both have been fantastic against left-handed pitching over the last 30 days. Willy Adames, 469 ISO rate is crazy. Matt Chapman, 300 ISO rate is also very good. It's not quite 469, which is absurd. The barrel rate for them too, Adames 22%, Chapman 21%. So really good numbers there as well. I will admit I was close to going with Luis Matos as well, who has been hitting well recently, who has good numbers against lefties, but I decided to just stick with these 2 players on the Giants. The pitcher, I mentioned he's a lefty. He's also a dong baller, an absolute dong baller. He's given up a home run every 16 and a half at-bats over the last 5 weeks. Horrific. That's to righties, to be specific. Horrific numbers across the board. I mean, barrel rate, 9% is bad. Hard hit rate, 47.5% is bad. Combined, 61, 62% line drive and fly ball rate is bad. So you add all that stuff up together. It's a good weather game at Coors. It's 2 hitters that are hitting well, 2 hitters that hit lefties well, and a pitcher that's a lefty that gets dong balled. That checks every single box, and the odds are reasonable. I wanted to get them both above plus 300, which I did. Dames is 320 at FanDuel, and Chapman is 300 at DraftKings. So both of them did have good enough odds for me. And then Matos, if you did want to go with him, 520 at FanDuel, 525 at ESPN Bet. And they don't have odds for Bet365. There's something weird going on with Bet365 odds. Like a lot of odds providers aren't able to pull them right now. But anyways, that's play number 1 and 2. Next up, 2 plays in the Rays game, and it's 2 of my guys that have been my favorites over the last couple weeks. It's Brandon Lau and it's Junior Caminero. Now, I was off Junior yesterday because of the weather. The weather is much better today. There's still winds blowing in. The winds aren't as heavy. Temperatures in the 80s, and there's very high humidity. So the ball should carry much better than it did yesterday. Of the favorites, I'm actually going with Caminero as the second of my 3 favorites. You look at what they did yesterday. None of them hit a home run. Caminero came close. He hit the crap out of a baseball, but the wind just crushed it down. That's not going to happen today. You look at that EV log. For starters, 3 hard hits for Caminero, 1 double, couple of them put in the air. But the one that he hit, it was 100 and, where is it? Junior Caminero. Here we go. It was 105, basically, miles an hour off the bat, 32-degree launch angle. That is picture perfect. That's like everything you could possibly ask for a home run. Yet it only traveled 351 feet because it got, again, taken down by the wind. But today that's not going to happen. And when you look at Caminero, 104.9 off the bat, 106.6, 107.2. And one of them put in the air. Like the reason I didn't go with Yandy Diaz was he had 3 hard hits, but the launch angle 3, -1, and 4. That ball's got to be put in the air a little bit. Caminero's been on fire over the last week, over the last 2 weeks. And Lau only had the 1 hard hit, but it was hit pretty hard, 103.7. Just got to get a little bit higher launch angle on that one as well. Lefties generally have a better matchup at Steinbrenner Field because of the short right field porch. But for today, like I mentioned, I actually like Caminero as the second of my 3 favorites. They're going up against Brian Wu, who's a decent pitcher, but he's really been hit hard. Like you look at him over the last 5 weeks, home run allowed every 20 at-bats. Some numbers good, some bad, like the fly ball rate's a little high. The hard hit rate is very high. Granted, the strikeout rate is low. But what I do want to highlight is he's really been getting torched by right-handed hitters, which is another in favor of Junior Caminero over Brandon Lau. You look at these numbers against righties. Every single one of them was worse, except for the fly ball rate went down like 2%, that's fine. But the hard hit rate went up, the barrel rate went up, and home run allowed every 9 at-bats is horrific. Now, again, he's been better against lefties, but you look at the entire year against lefties for Brian Wu, home run allowed every 28 at-bats. It's not somebody to completely stay away from. So even though he's been better recently, it's not something like I don't want to take a lefty against him. But I think taking both of them makes sense as opposed to being picky and choosy. If I did have to be picky and choosy, it would be Junior. That's play number 3 and 4 with, again, Junior as the second of my 3 favorites. And then the last of my 3 favorites is Roman Anthony to hit a home run. He's going up against Slade Ciccone, who can be hit or miss, but has been kind of a dong baller recently. It's funny, you look at him on the year, home run allowed every 17 at-bats to lefties. Perfect. That's exactly what we look for. Bad numbers across the board. 30% fly ball rate, 55% combined with the line drive rate. Hard hit rate, almost 55%. That's bad. Barrel rate, 10.5%. That's bad. Look at the last 5 weeks for him, and it's still pretty bad. Some of these numbers are better, like the line drive rate went down, but guess what? The fly ball rate went up. These 2 numbers went slightly down, but not really. Home run allowed every 16 at-bats is terrible. So you kind of look at it like at the beginning of the year, he was bad. Then he had a stretch in the middle of the season where he was really good, starting to struggle again against lefties. And Roman Anthony has been fantastic. You look at him over the last week, 3 barrels is good. 12 hard hits is very good. You look at him over the last 2 weeks, 9 barrels and 24 hard hits. Both of those numbers are fantastic. You compare those numbers league-wide, that is the tied for the second most barrels with 3 other batters. One of 6 batters with 9 or more. And also, Luca's number 1, Mr. Junior Caminero, so the guy we took. And then in terms of hard hits, he's one of 11 batters with 24 or more hard hits, while Caminero is one of 5 batters with 25 or more. So you kind of see why I like both of those players. The matchup lines up really well for all of them. Again, the weather at Fenway was not ideal for today. I will admit that. But it's also got such weird dimensions that, like, Roman Anthony can hit one really to the corner, hit one 300 feet, or he can hit one to, like, right center, and it's not terrible. Or he can hit one to dead center, and it's only going to travel 390 feet. So Fenway Park is weird, but the way Roman Anthony's been hitting, he can hit a home run at home. And the wind, it's cold, which is really the biggest issue. But the wind is not terrible. So I like Roman Anthony to hit a home run. That's the third of my 3 favorites. Now I have 4 plays in the Twins versus White Sox game. Now this is the game that I love. It's also the game that I'm worried that it's going to get rained out. But the matchup is Simeon Woods Richardson going up against Davis Martin. And you look at just every pitcher today and how have they performed in the home run department. Look at who are the 2 worst. It's Simeon Woods Richardson and it's Davis Martin. So I'm taking 2 batters against both of these players. Now Woods Richardson, both these pitchers, he's only made a couple starts since coming back from AAA. That's not a great sign that they sent him down. Then he got called back up and got smoked in both of his starts. I mean, a home run allowed every 5 at-bats over the last 5 weeks is terrible. And even if we just include his most recent start, it's every 9 at-bats, which is still really, really bad. And then Davis Martin over the last 5 weeks, as you just saw, home run every 13.29 at-bats is horrific. So the 4 that I'm taking, the 2 on the White Sox are Colson Montgomery and Brooks Baldwin. The 2 on the Twins are Matt Wallner and Luke Keeschel. Now, Luke Keeschel might sound random, so we'll start with him. Don't forget Davis Martin, so that is important. Also, the odds, I should mention, on Luke Keeschel, plus 850 at Bet365. So the best odds, the highest odds for today are on Luke Keeschel hit a home run. Again, plus 850. And then you look at batters on the Twins, last 14 days. Now, Buxton's been fantastic, but the reason I didn't go with him, A, the odds were pretty stinky, and B, Davis Martin has been worse against lefties. So I wanted to target 2 lefty bats. So Davis Martin against righties, home run every 36 at-bats. Against lefties, every 9.5 at-bats, which is really, really bad. 41% fly ball rate is terrible. 25% line drive rate combined with that is bad. Hard hit rate is high. Barrel rate is high. The K rate is below 20%. Those numbers are really bad. And then you look at batters on the Twins over the last week. This is the last 2 weeks, but Wallner's got 4 barrels and Keeshel's got 2. But you look at the last last week, which is what made me go with both of them. 2 barrels for Wallner, 9 hard hits is the barrels. You want that number to be 3, but 2 is fine. 9 hard hits is fine. And then with Keeschel, 2 barrels, 4 hard hits. 2 barrels, 8 hard hits. I'm talking too fast here. Again, is acceptable, but he's been hitting well recently. He had a good day at the plate yesterday. And he actually is a righty, so I did mix that up. I wanted 1 righty and 1 lefty, but I liked the odds on him at plus 850. So I know I mentioned I wanted 2 lefties, but just mix that up. The reason I like Keeschel is he had a good day yesterday, and I know I've sometimes gotten burned by chasing what batters did the previous day, but he had 3 hard hits yesterday, and one of them was hit pretty well in the air. 364 feet, 20-degree launch angle, 100 miles an hour off the bat, and then he also had a ground out with -degree launch angle, another -degree, so it's really just the one, and it's plus 850, and I will say, Ballpark Pal really liked him, so that is something that I put emphasis in. They have him true odds at plus 510, all the way up at plus 850, reminder, at Bet365. Now, the other batters, Montgomery was best offered at 350 Fanatics, and Brooks Baldwin was 660 Fanatics. And if you can't get him, then 600 at FanDuel I would take. And then Wallner was 325 at ESPN Bet. I think the best offer price was actually 335 at Fanatics. For whatever reason, that's not pulling here. But yeah, I talked about the pitchers being stinky. That's the most important thing here. The weather is the best of the day by far. plus 12% weather edge according to Ballpark Pal, and it was like 34% according to Weather Edge. And I mentioned the two batters on the Twins, the guys on the White Sox. The hard hits from Montgomery don't look impressive, but he's taken a couple days off. Really, what I want to highlight here are the barrels. I want to highlight the 66% fly ball rate and the 53% pull rate. Those numbers are fantastic. And then Brooks Baldwin has been pretty good recently as well. 2 barrels, 7 hard hits, but again, putting the ball in the air at a really high rate. And in the last 2 weeks, 4 barrels is good. 12 hard hits, you want that number to be a little bit higher, but again, hitting the ball in the air at a good rate. And he's pulling it more recently as well. So all in all, I mean, this game could be an absolute, if it's played, a lot of times, unfortunately, the best weather games could also have rain situations, because a lot of times it means like humidity and winds and stuff, and humidity is going to help with carry. Low barometric pressure is going to help with carry. And if the winds are blowing out, obviously that's going to be helpful. So that's why I went 4 deep. If I was going to add a 5th, it would probably be Lennon Sosa. Bitches love Sosa, but he's cooled off a little bit, and he hit a home run a couple days ago, but that's kind of seems like an outlier. After that, he hadn't done much. Before that, he hadn't done much for like 3 games. So I took him off. Keishel was hot batter, trusting Ballpark Pal. Ballpark Pal likes Brooks Baldwin as well. So that kind of matched a lot of things. And then Montgomery's an animal. Wallner's been good recently. And that's all we got. So 9 total players on Dong Watch for you guys. I'll do a quick recap, giving you the odds, and I'll get out of here. It's the 4 players in the White Sox Twins game. Colson Montgomery. He's actually plus 350, so I actually wrote this down wrong to the everybody on my Tails account. Wallner plus 335, Fanatics. Brooks Baldwin plus 660, Fanatics. Keishel plus 850, big highlight on the 850. Lau at 375, Caminero at 410, net 375, I should say. It's bet 365 for Brandon Lau. Roman Anthony plus 500, bet 365, and then the 2 batters in the Giants, Matt Chapman at plus 300 and Willie Adames at plus 320. And I did say I liked Luis Matos in that one as well. I just didn't bet him, but that's all we got. Thank you everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and have a good one.